Golden Radio Hour.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Hey, it's me, Sammy the Spade.
Sam, it's not true, is it?
Every word of it. What?
That you've been consorting with unsavory characters?
Well, she was a savory enough girl, Effie, although a crook.
Well, according to the paper, she's practically a murderess. Not to mention that she's dancing the Roomba with you.
That's a lie.
There's a picture of you. Virginia Vale, gangland glamour girl, caught at the Club Iberia in barefoot Roomba with private eye.
It was not a Roomba. It was a bambuco. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, Sam, not over the phone.
Boom, I can't stop it. Boom, 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 boom. Stay where you are. Boom, 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 boom. I'll be right down to dictate my report on the Lawless Caper. Boom, boom, boom.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Say, have you gotten acquainted with Wild Root Cream Oil yet? Tell you what, mister, if you haven't, even if you don't use any hair tonic at all, why not ask at your drug or toilet goods counter tonight or tomorrow for the brand new 25-cent Get Acquainted bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil. You'll like the way Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose dandruff. You never dreamed one hair tonic could do so much. So give it a try. Get the generous new 25-cent bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the adventures of Sam Spade.
I think I'm getting it now.
You even lost your shoes.
Ready, sweetheart?
Yes, Sam.
No questions?
No, Sam.
That picture in the paper doesn't mean a thing, Effie. There was nothing between Virginia and me.
Just wasn't room.
Well, that bambuco, you know, that's the way we dance it. Authentic.
Sam, I troubled to call my girlfriend, Edna Mae Schwartz, who is an instructor at Arthur Murray's.
Mm-hmm.
I quote, "The partners exchange graceful nods in the center of the dance floor and then separate.
Well,
As the senorita provocatively leads a pursuing caballero through a series of gay whirls, turns, and figures."
There, you see, provocative.
But he never catches her, Sam.
Well, I had my shoes off. That gave me the advantage.
You know best, Sam.
Well, that clears that up. Date?
August 29th.
I will give the date. Fill it in.
That still doesn't explain your operating on the wrong side of the law.
Down, Effie. This goes to John M. Lawless.
A known gangster.
What else? From Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Dun, 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 dun.
Boom.
Thank you, Effie. Subject, Joe Morales. Dear Johnny, you hired me yesterday morning, but the real start of it was back in 45. Flashback. San Francisco was just recovering from VJ Day, and crime was practically at a standstill because your number one competitor in the West Coast mobs had just been rubbed out, and you were on trial for same. Nothing about the trial made any sense. The tea-time chatter in the better pool rooms was that you were taking the rap for your worst enemy, Joe Morales. What made even less sense, the lawyer defending you was Joe's brother. So I wasn't a bit surprised to receive your check for $25, together with an invitation to be in the third row of the courtroom when the jury returned the verdict. I was.
The defendant will please rise. Step forward, please. Have you anything to say why judgment of this court should not be passed upon you?
Yeah. It's a bad beef.
The judgment of this court is that you, John Lawless, for the crime of manslaughter, having feloniously run down, run over, and killed with a certain automobile the deceased person named in the indictment, and having subsequently departed the scene in violation of the hit-and-run statute, are hereby sentenced to a term of 3 to 10 years in the state prison of the state of California, San Quentin.
You didn't even look at the judge while he was dishing it out. Your eyes were on the man sitting directly in front of me. The man you were supposed to be taking the rap for. The man you deliberately planted me behind, Joe Morales. I wondered what that meant. When the judge brought down his gavel, I found out. You came up the aisle with a deputy on one arm and your lawyer on the other. He seemed upset about something.
I'm sorry, Johnny. I did the best I could. They've given me the judge I asked
You
for.
passed on the jury, you cheap shyster.
Okay, just wait till you get my bill.
Shut up. Oh, wait a minute, Sheriff. I want to speak to a friend.
Okay, Johnny, hurry it. We got a train to catch.
Hey, you, Joe.
Yeah, Johnny?
I got just this to say to you. I'm going up, but I'm not staying, see? If I'm not paroled out in 3, I'll break out. Either way, I'll get you, even if it means a murder rap.
Oh, now listen, Johnny.
You heard
know...
me, Spade?
Yeah, Johnny, I wish I hadn't.
Come on, Johnny, we gotta go.
Okay. Don't forget what I said, Joe. So long, Sam.
Good luck, Johnny.
Hey, Sally,
Yeah, Joe?
you hear what he said?
I know.
He's gonna knock me. This guy's a witness named Spade. Spade, my brother Sally.
Salvador Morales. You may have heard of me.
Yeah, if I'm ever up in a hit and run, remind me not to hire you.
Come along, Spade, where we can talk quietly. Just over here. My conference room.
Look, we got nothing to talk about.
Oh, yes, we have.
Watch it. I just got this suit pressed.
Yeah, right in here.
Sally, is it all over? How did it come out?
Where were you?
In here, I couldn't force myself to stay out there. What did he get?
3 to 10.
3 to 10, is that... Oh, I mean, how terrible. How terrible.
Best I could do. This is Sam Spade, my dear. Miss Virginia Vale, Johnny Lawless's fiancée.
The San Quentin widow.
Well, how's tricks, Virginia?
Why did they bring you here?
Maybe they know.
He's a witness.
Witness?
To a threat Johnny made against my brother's life. My own client.
What's funny?
Ask your brother. That threat would even get you a writ against him to keep the peace.
What do you mean, Sam?
Sweetheart, threats don't mean anything in law unless they're backed up by some action. Even if he told you the when, the where, and the how, it wouldn't be worth anything until you're dead.
But it would be worth something then?
Sure, shows premeditation.
Then if he knew he was overheard and you'd be forced to testify if anything happened to Joe...
Hey, beautiful. What are you trying to do to me?
Oh, I mean, he'd think twice before he tried anything. You'd be safe, Joe.
Well, honey, I didn't know you cared.
About you, I don't. I just wouldn't want Johnny to do anything foolish.
End of flashback. That was 3 years ago. A lot of big news has broken since then, but the only items that interested you in San Quentin were printed on the inside pages of the local press. Item: Virginia Vale, your fiancée, got herself engaged to Joe Morales, your worst enemy. And item: Salvador Sally Morales, your mouthpiece, had taken over your mob. Which brings us up to yesterday morning. Yeah?
That you, Sam?
Who's this?
Johnny Lawless, remember me?
No.
I was hoping you'd say that. Look, Sam, I got a job for you.
Call Peeper Breen. He may need it bad enough.
I've got no contacts in the mobs anymore. This is clean.
How clean?
A chance to save an innocent man from the gas chamber.
While
There's $1,000 in it for you.
Wait till I get a pencil. Now, what was the address?
The Alma Arms on Pine Street near Jones.
Yeah?
Buzz me 3 times. 1 long, 2 short. And make sure there's no one on your tail.
Got it. I was not tailed. I found your name on the bell panel, buzzed 1 long and 2 short, and the automatic lock clicked me in. You were waiting 1 flight up in the open door of your apartment. You didn't say anything, just made sure it was me, motioned me inside, locked the door, and led me back to a bedroom.
Well, there it is, Sam.
Mm-hmm. Joe Morales. Dead about 3 hours, I'd say. 4 slugs, chest, shoulder, and head. Looks like amateur work, a professional aims for the belly, or did you mean it to look like an amateur job?
Would I be sap enough to drop him in my own apartment? Besides, he's my lawyer's brother, and I might need Sally again.
Why did you call me?
Well, you heard what I said to Joe after the trial.
Who told you that, Virginia?
Yeah, but she didn't have to. Didn't I ask you to sit there?
Oh, that's one thing that worries me.
Look, let's go in the other room, huh? I feel like a drink. Well, here's my pitch, Sam. I checked out of San Quentin yesterday morning. I didn't have a mark against me. The warden himself put my case before the parole board. He called me the ideal prisoner.
Shall we dance?
Okay, Sam, okay, but a man can change a lot in 3 years. So can a woman. Virginia met me at the gate when we drove into the city. We didn't have a thing to say to each other. The way I felt by the time the ride was over, Joe could have her and welcome. I had other plans.
Such as?
Well, the parole board was getting me a job with a mining firm, a surveyor. I took a course up at Quinton.
You seriously expect me to swallow this line of guff?
Listen, you don't get fat making a living on the mace. Take half of these guys you hear telling the world what wonders they are at puffing boxes, knocking over joints, and the rest of the lays. Yeah, not half of them make 3 meals a day at it. Then what chance has a guy without a regular racket? And, brother, that's me.
I'll buy that for now. Let's talk about that dead body.
All right. Well, I called Joe on the phone this morning, see, and I told him to meet me here at 3 this afternoon. I wanted to tell him, forget about what I said about how I was going to get him. Not that I wanted to write off that rap I took for him. But if he was scared, he might come gunning for me. I might have to break parole to defend myself. About Virginia, like I told you, we got nothing to talk about.
Yeah, it was beautiful while it lasted. So he was due here at 3, huh?
Huh? Yeah. I was held up. As a matter of fact, I was with my lawyer at the time.
Sally?
Yeah, I phoned the building and told the superintendent to let Joe in, and then I got here about 4:15. But I didn't find him till just before 6 when I called you, Sam.
How come?
Well, I just didn't look in the bedroom. I figured he got tired waiting and left, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, look, Johnny, assuming your story is true, and if it isn't, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, who do you think did it?
Well, that depends on why. If it was somebody gunning for him, it would depend on what's going in the mob since I've been in Quinton. You know more about that than I do. If it was somebody trying to frame me...
What do you mean, trying?
Hey, wait a minute.
I got a phone homicide. You must have known that when you called me.
Yeah, that's why I ripped the wires out.
That's cute. That's very cute.
Oh,
that makes you look real good.
Look, Sam, look. I'm not asking you to do anything extracurricular. Sure, you have to yell cop, but you'll do it over a pay station downstairs. And by the time anybody can get back up here, that stiff will be out.
It will. Well, how's that going to be done?
I got a friend in the undertaking business. Met him up at Quinton. He just installed a new crematorium.
You should have called him first.
I did, but I can call him off.
You're stir-happy.
Look, Sam, how about it, huh? So the cops come in tonight, tomorrow. Who cares? Not Joe, the weather he'll keep. What do you say, Sam? What do you say?
I say you're probably bluffing, that you got no way of getting rid of the stiff, but on the outside chance that you might not be bluffing, I'll string along with you for a couple of hours. If I don't turn up anything by then, the deal is off.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but this isn't...
Hey!
Sorry, I got to do it. I hated to do it, Johnny. You were out of condition and you weren't expecting it. But I wanted you to look like a hospital case. After you went down and out, I transferred my fee from your wallet to mine, examined your wounds, and decided you were good for 2 hours at St. Agnes Hospital, where I know the head nurse. Incidentally, that reminds me. So without further delay, I toted you downstairs, threw you into a taxi, and delivered you to the ambulance entrance. That's when I remembered that I had forgotten one thing. I hadn't given you a chance to call off your alleged undertaker friend. I was sure that part of your story was bluff, but just to make sure, I rushed back to your apartment in less time than it takes the average undertaker to back his hearse out of the garage, I thought. When I got there, I wasn't so sure. The apartment had been tidied up, ashtrays emptied, glasses put away. They'd even vacuumed the rug. The blood-stained bedspread had been removed, and with it, the corpus delicti. I found myself humming an old tune. I ain't got no body.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil. America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and a handy new tube. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. And now, back to the Lawless Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
In most murder cases, there are too many suspects, too many motives, and too many clues from the very beginning. I'd been on this one 3 hours, and I succeeded in turning up no suspects, no clues, and the most shameful thing of all, I had lost the body of the victim. I consoled myself with the thought that he was in no condition to tell me anything anyway. But then neither were you, Johnny. You'd checked out of the hospital, no forwarding address. But in a gin mill down in the Mission, I found a character with the unlikely name of Porky Grout. Porky is theoretically alive and will tell all he knows about anybody, which is plenty, for 2 fingers of rye. I gave him a handful. Easy.
Joe Morales mob.
Yeah.
Well, they dusted this town. They moved to Las Vegas 5-6 months ago.
How come Joe stayed in San Francisco?
Oh, him and his brother had a beef with each other.
That's Sally Morales, the lawyer?
Yeah, the mouthpiece.
Not too close. What was it all about?
Oh, that dame, Virginia Vale. Yeah, after she and Joe framed Johnny Lawless on that hit-and-run job, well, they disagreed on methods of administration.
Not so close.
No. So she and Sally team up. And Sally uses his business connections to pull off this big combine, you see?
Yeah, I heard of it, Las Vegas. How do I get to Sally?
My throat's dry. I can't hardly talk.
Hey, Riley, put out the bottle. And bring an air wick.
Yeah, that's right. Oop, it's a sloppy.
Easy. I'll help you. Great, huh? Great stuff. Not too close.
Now, when do you want to get to him? Tonight?
Right now.
Let me see. The dame don't dance to nothing but rumba music, and she don't drink nothing but imported French champagne.
Yeah.
Furthermore, she don't go nowhere where she don't get her picture taken. And he don't dare take a drink in a place that pays him protection. Well, this being after hours, there's only approximately one place they could be at. That's the Iberia out on Van Ness.
Yeah. Thank you and good night, Porky Grout. If your friends won't tell you, I will.
What?
Please don't bother to answer. I didn't have any trouble picking out their table. Virginia spotted me at about the same time, grabbed up her purse, muttered an excuse to her escort, and edged around the dance floor. She caught me in the middle of a bambuco, a combination of a rumba, a samba, and guaracha, and whirled me lightly out onto the floor. I followed as best I could.
Listen, Joe, you shouldn't have come here.
How did I know our first dance would be a bambuco?
Now, you danced divinely, but you must leave at once. Sally is insanely jealous, and he's in an especially bad mood tonight.
Yeah, so am I.
I know why you came.
You one up on me.
Johnny Lawless has been in touch with you, hasn't he?
You talked to him since yesterday morning?
No. He was bound to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
I don't know what story he's told you, but don't believe a word of it. He only wants to get you out of the way so he can get back at Joe. Still thinks Joe framed him into San Quentin.
Oh, you can stop worrying about Joe.
Huh? Sam, what are you...
He's dead, if that's news to you.
I think you'd better talk to Sally after all. Come on.
Well, just getting the hang of it.
Well, my dear, so you've met another old friend. Huh?
Hello, Sally.
Hello. Sit down, Spade.
Thanks.
Sally.
Huh?
Sam says Joe is dead.
Joe? Murdered?
Yeah.
Well, it was bound to happen. I warned him to get out of town before Johnny Lawless came back.
Johnny says he was with you when it happened.
Juries don't go for alibis, Spade. Best defense I could give him would be that I defend him despite the fact he's accused of killing my own brother. But look here. As his attorney, I have the right to know what he retained you for.
To find out who did kill Joe. That's what he said.
Have you found out?
Not yet.
Any leads?
Not many.
Now, what's the difficulty?
The corpse. Somebody swiped it.
You can't mean that.
I can, and I do.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Unless Johnny arranged it himself. But he couldn't have. No contacts. Of course, he might have disposed of it without help. It's been done, you know.
Not tonight. I'm his alibi there.
I don't believe it. You're just telling that story to see how we'll react.
That's why I'm telling it, but it's not a story. It's the McCoy.
Sally, what can it mean? If Johnny didn't do it, then somebody must have done it to frame him. And if they did that, they wouldn't turn around and get rid of the evidence, would they?
What? Well, the whole thing is wild. Wild.
You know, there might have been two people who thought they were a team, but one of them was really working against the other and for Johnny.
Huh?
Well, that's absurd, isn't it, Sally?
Is it, my dear?
He's trying to play us off against each other. Don't fall for it, Sally. I had nothing to do with any of it. You've got to believe that.
Yes, I was sure of you when Johnny was out of the way.
You wanted him out of the way, you admit it.
You're still in love with him, aren't you? Aren't you?
Alice, you're hurting me.
Hurting you? I'll help the DA write his brief. You'll go to Tehachapi for body snatching.
Go ahead. I can't wait to get on the stand. The things I'll tell about you, how you let Johnny go up on that hit and run when you knew it was my idea and I was in the car with Joe.
You will. Not a jury in the country would blame me for protecting my own brother.
Protecting him? You were framing him even then, so you could have me for yourself.
Oh, I'll have you in the gas chamber if you keep insisting.
Your own brother. Squeeze out of that one if you can.
How about the body?
Love of woman surpasses brotherly love. I can see the jury now, eating it up. Victim of a designing woman caught in the toilet.
Nuts. I don't care whether either of you is guilty or both or neither or what of. If I get that body back tonight, I'll let the cops worry about it. If I don't, I'll confess to everything myself and name all three of you as accomplices.
All right, Spade. You say your only concern is that body.
Right.
Right. Here's $500. Another $500 when you find it, huh? Does that convince you?
Well, it helps.
Here, my diamonds. Take them all.
No, keep the diamonds, Virginia. If Sally gets sent up first, you'll need them for your defense. Think it over, kids. I'm calling the cops right now. I think it's 1 foot back.
Homicide, Lieutenant Garrett.
Roy, Sam Spade. Where's Dundee?
Oh, he's asleep. Sam, I've been trying to reach you.
Yeah, but do you know why?
Why, sure, about Johnny Lawless. Is there something we don't know, Sam?
Well, I'll come down and give you a statement. It's about Joe Morales.
Well, what about him?
Well, he got knocked off, and somebody lifted the corpse.
Oh, Sam, nobody lifted it.
Then who did?
We picked it up, Sam, right after you called us.
Right after Oh, yeah. Yeah, what time was that?
Let's see, I got it here. 20 minutes past 6. Lose your watch?
That ain't all.
What's that, Sam?
Call you back. What's up, Sally?
Come on. Come out of there.
Well, I wasn't planning to spend the night in a phone booth. Why the heater?
It's for you, Sam.
You must be nuts pulling a gun in a crowded joint like this.
Hey, stop looking at it. Come on. Up those stairs.
Now, look, Sally.
In there.
Easy. Where's your girlfriend?
Well, I sent her home, Sam. She can't stand the sight of blood.
You clown.
Oh. You were pretty funny, too, when you made that phone call. I didn't believe you'd go through with it.
What makes you think I'm interested in that old rap? Johnny's already done the time for it. Joe can't talk, and I don't want to.
I don't care what you want. It's what I want. That's what counts.
Does it? You wanted Virginia? You got her.
Oh, not the point. Just doesn't sound good. Salvador Morella's sweetheart going up on a murder rap.
Well, you trimmed it down to manslaughter for Johnny Lawless, and she's enough prettier to rate an acquittal, or are we talking about the same killing? You think Virginia killed Joe Morales, don't you? Why? Because she seems so anxious to pin it on Johnny Lawless.
Well?
Well, nothing. Only I've got a score to settle with Johnny Lawless myself, you see. He left me out in the limb with that body snatch. If I can pin the killing on him, I got a story for the cops. Now, show how smart you are. Shoot me.
I fully intend to.
Now, look.
Well, hold it, Sally.
Hello, Johnny.
Hey, you can do it yourself, Johnny. I was going to do it for you, but you can do it yourself.
I don't get it.
He's trying to pin that murder on you, Johnny.
Like you pinned that old hit and run on me?
But it's not the same, Johnny. Joe's killing is worth life if you're lucky.
I never had much luck.
Let him have it, Johnny. What have you got to lose? Well, you want me to...
No. Step back, Sally. Okay. He dead?
Yeah. You planned it different, didn't you, Johnny?
Yeah, but I might as well get two for the price of one. Yeah, I planned it different, but I don't seem to care anymore.
Well, then you won't need that.
Huh?
Sorry, Johnny. By the way, I'd like to thank you for keeping me in the clear.
How come?
That phone call you made the homicide using my name. Without that, I might be going up with you.
How'd you figure it?
Nobody but you had anything to gain by making that body seem to disappear. You knew I wouldn't check with the police till I'd made a try at locating it on my own. You knew I'd use the disappearance as a handle to shake what I could out of Sally and Virginia. You knew they'd suspect each other because I had you alibied at the time of the body snatch, and that would start them screaming accusations at each other.
Did they say enough to send them up?
Yeah, I don't know how much will stick, but enough.
They both admit Joe did that hit-and-run job I was sent up for?
He and Virginia together.
So she was with him. 3 years ago, I wouldn't have wanted to know that. Now it sounds good.
I didn't think it really sounded good to you. I was sorry to hear it myself, and after all, I'd only danced a bambuco with a mouse. I'm sorry things turned out the way they did, and it's a little late to be making with the advice, but, well, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men gang after glade.
What?
And as you say, what chance has a man got without a regular racket? Period. End of report.
Well, heavens to Betsy.
Oh.
How can you be so sympathetic with a girl who did all those terrible things?
Oh, I know, F, I know. It's a silly dance, but she looked cute while she was doing it.
I don't mean the dance.
You mean the best laid plans?
What does that mean, Sam? That gang after glade?
I'll give you a hint, sweetheart. It's something you never need worry about.
No.
Here's why, men. Here's why Wild Root Cream Oil is again and again the choice of men who put good grooming first. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms the hair neatly and naturally without giving it that plastered down look. Wild Root Cream Oil relieves annoying dryness and removes that loose, ugly dandruff. So if you're not using it now, or if you're not using any hair tonic, get Wild Root Cream Oil at your drug or toilet goods counter in the new 25-cent Get Acquainted size bottle. Also, ask your barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first.
Well, here it is, Sam. My, terribly confusing.
I sensed that somehow.
Who was that hit-and-run victim?
Well, they named that dance after him, George L. Bambuco.
I don't believe it. Sam, what does it mean? What does it mean? You know.
Gang after glade? Snafu.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Dialects yet. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin with score composed by Renee Garrigang. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. This is Dick Joy reminding you to
get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie, keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
50,000 Americans die from tuberculosis every year. Yet tuberculosis is curable. The disease can be wiped out. The secret is discover it in its early stages. Why not be sure you and your family don't have tuberculosis by getting a chest X-ray right away? This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. The hair-raising adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
It's me, Effie.
Oh, Sam, I've been worried about you. Sid Weiss was just on the phone, and he says digging up a corpse without a permit is against the law.
It's all right, Effie. I just dug him up to say hello and put him back again.
Oh, Sam.
I'll be down in a couple of minutes to dictate my report, sweetheart. If I get lost on the way, you'll find me in City Hospital, the Psycho Ward, third straitjacket from the left.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the adventures of Sam Spade. Presented each week by Wild Root Cream Oil, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that will put your hair back in place again, grooming it neatly, naturally, the way you want it. Fellows, if a girl can spend half an hour under a hot dryer in a beauty parlor to look her best for you, certainly you can spend half a minute sprucing up with Wild Root Cream Oil hair tonic to look your best for her. Now, that's all it takes, and Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, the way girls like to see it. Besides, it relieves dryness and removes loose dandruff. There's not a drop of alcohol in Wild Root Cream Oil. It contains lanolin. So get the big economy-size bottle at your drug or toilet goods counter. And now, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Date, August 2nd, 1946. To Mrs. Gregory Denov. Subject, death of Dr. Denov. I was sitting in my office with nothing to think about except a horse named Corkscrew Jr. My secretary, Effie Perrine, came in and said there was someone outside. I didn't look up from the dope sheet, so she said it again.
Someone outside, Sam.
What's he look like?
Blue double-breasted custom-made suit, Countess Mara tie, hand-tailored shirt, English shoes, hand-trimmed Van Dyke.
Get me a blank check and send him in.
Okay, Sam. Please come in. Mr. Spade will see you now, sir.
Thank you. You are Mr. Spade, Sam Spade.
What can I do for you?
I'm Dr. Gregory Denov, a psychoanalyst. I need your help.
Lie down, doctor, and tell me all about it.
I see you might also be noted for your sense of humor as well as your discretion.
Who told you I was discreet?
A man named Nicolaitis.
Well, you tell Nicolaitis I think he's cute, too. What else does he say about me?
That I can trust you with $10,000.
Oh. Is this Mr. Nicolaitis one of your patients?
No, he isn't. As a matter of fact, he's gotten possession of some private records of mine. Well, it's rather involved.
Nicolaitis is shaking you down, and he picked me as the middleman. Is that it?
This is not an ordinary case of blackmail.
Blackmail is blackmail, even if you do it in Technicolor.
Well, as you may know, a psychoanalyst keeps a faithful transcript, a detailed record of everything a patient says during consultation, no matter how intimate or shocking.
Yeah?
This man, Nicolaitis, has managed to gain possession of a copy of one of these case histories. The patient is a very celebrated person, and should this material be divulged, it may have very serious consequences for both my patient and for me.
Doctor, your best bet's the San Francisco Police Department.
No, that's out of the question.
Then I'm afraid I can't help you.
Why not? Nicolaitis said
I'm a private detective. When I take on a client, I take on his troubles. My job is to protect him, not to stand by and see him milked. If you want to hire me on that basis, I'll listen.
Oh, I'm so tired. I must trust somebody. What can you do for me, Mr. Spade?
Write me out a check for $1,000. Got a pen? Yeah.
All right.
You see, Nicolaitis figures that if I'm getting a cut, I'll have to keep my mouth shut. I'll spend it all the same.
Here you are.
Thanks. Now, what was the last thing Nicolaitis told you?
That he would pick up the $10,000 here and deliver to you this file in question.
Can you reach him?
Yes.
Call him. Tell him you've seen me. Tell him I won't do that kind of business in my office. Tell him to come to your house. I'll be there.
What if he refuses?
He won't. Tell him I have the whole $10,000.
What time?
How about in an hour?
No, I'm sorry. We'll have to make it around 3 or... Oh, goodness, I'm late now. I really...
That's a beautiful watch, Mr. Denov.
Yes.
Foreign?
Yes.
May I see it?
My watch? Why, really, Mr. Spade, I'm very late. I have so many things to do, and I have to be at the Majestic Theater well before the matinee starts at 2:30.
Are you going to see me at 3 o'clock if you're going to the theater?
Oh, I'm not going to stay for the performance. Well, Mr. Spade, till 3 o'clock then. Oh, my office is in my apartment. The address is here on my card. It's the penthouse.
Penthouse, huh? Okay, Doctor, I'll come formal. I'll wear the top to my bathing suit. I left my office around 2:30 and started walking up Nob Hill. The Versailles Apartments, where Denov's place was, took up the whole 300 block, so I didn't have any trouble finding it. I stopped across the street for a minute to get my breath after the uphill climb, mopped my face, and started across. Just as I got to the middle of the street... The crowd was packed in so close around I couldn't see who'd done the Brody, but I had a pretty good idea. The cops had the sidewalk roped off and guards posted at the building entrance. It took me maybe 20 minutes to elbow my way through and show my credentials. Sergeant Levine had the front door, so they let me in. Lieutenant Dundee of Homicide met me at the door of the penthouse.
Hiya, Sam. What do you want?
I want to see Dr. Denov.
The doctor's dead.
Dead?
Yeah.
He's my client. They can't do this to me. How?
Hit a Brody out the window. What are you here for?
To see his wife. Okay with you?
Why not? She's inside.
Thanks.
Mrs. Danoff, please. With all due respect for your grief, I must have the keys to the cabinet where Gregory kept his confidential files. You realize that he wished me to take charge of his patients and that I am responsible. All this police and so on. We must get those files out of here as soon as possible. Yes?
My name is Spade.
I am Dr. Zoya. I was poor Dr. Danoff's oldest friend. If there's anything
I'd like to see you, Mrs. Danoff, alone.
But you police have already asked her so many questions. You see, she's not in the...
I'm not with the police. I'm a private detective. I was working for Dr. Denov.
A private detective?
He was in trouble, you see. You see, Dr. Sawyer, the police won't believe me. Mr. Spade, you'll tell them. You'll tell them he didn't commit suicide.
Well, Mrs. Denov, I guess that takes care of everything here. It's clearly suicide.
Oh, idiot. Blind, stupid idiot. Suicide. My husband, he treated suicides. He would never...
No, please. It will be all right, my dear. I'm sorry. She's hysterical.
Yeah.
If I had the time,
Spade,
I would...
Tell them.
Please, Mrs. Dano. The undertaker has been arranged for burial at 7 o'clock, Beth Israel Cemetery. Now, please, the key to Gregory's files.
Here, take it and go. Go ahead, all of you.
Okay, we'll call you later.
Oh, I'm so sorry, gentlemen. This hysteria, a simple traumatic condition. If I only had the time.
Who can I turn to? Who will help me? You think it's pleasant? You think my husband would rest if they said I committed suicide? What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? Oh, you...
Dr. Zoya didn't have the time, neither have I. You think it's murder? Who do you think killed your husband?
To name someone? That's a very serious charge, Mr. Spade.
Goodbye, Mrs. Denov.
Constance Brent.
You mean Constance Brent, the actress?
Yes. Yes, she was his last patient this morning. She had threatened to kill him before.
How do you know?
My husband said so.
Do you?
Well, he'd written it down on his notes on her case. Once before, she'd almost pushed him from that same window.
How about your husband and Miss Brent?
Oh, I knew she was falling in love with my husband. That always happens. They call it a transference. But in this
Your
case...
husband told me Miss Brent was acting in a play this afternoon over at the Majestic.
Yes, Midsummer Night's Dream. But she was here. I know she was here. Miss Ray, the receptionist, was coming back from lunch when she heard voices arguing inside. And she was sure it was Miss Brent's voice.
Show me the doctor's case history on Miss Brent.
I can't. It's missing. As soon as it happened, I went to the files. I meant to show it to the police.
Who could have taken it?
Constance Brent was the last one in that room before he died.
Yeah. When did you see Nicolaitis last?
Nick, who?
Skip it.
Where can I reach you in case...
For the next couple of hours, I'll be at the Majestic Theater. I want to see how good an actress this Constance Brent is.
So good night unto you all.
Yes? This Constance Brent's dressing room?
What do you want?
I want to talk to Miss Brent.
Well, you can talk to me. I'm her husband.
So you're Mr. Brent.
I'm Jonathan Wallace. She's Mrs. Wallace. Now, what do you want with my wife?
I've come to tell her that Dr. Denov is dead.
Are you sure?
You try falling from a 12th floor window sometime.
Well, that's the best news I've heard this year. But I'm afraid it will be a shock for Constance.
Maybe, maybe not. She was the last person to see him alive, as far as anybody can make out.
Are you from the police?
No, I'm from the insurance company. Claims investigator.
What do you want to see Constance for? The policy wasn't made out to her, was it?
No, made out to his widow. But she can't collect. Police say it was suicide.
That settles it. This is the last time I play Titania. Stand around while Puck talks his head off. Who is this person?
Darling, I'm afraid this is going to be a shock. This man is from an insurance company. Dr. Denov is dead.
Oh, what a pity. What happened?
The police say he jumped. His wife says he was pushed. She also says that you, Miss Brent, might have been the pusher.
Oh, now, really, it's too absurd. How like a wife.
What time did your play start this afternoon, Miss Brent?
Matinee at 2:30, always. Always.
And the late lamented Dr. Denov jumped at 3 o'clock.
I didn't say he did. Doesn't this news, shock you?
But of course. Do you think good psychoanalysts are easy to find?
Looks like your next doctor will have to start from scratch. Your case history seems to be missing from Dr. Denov's files.
Missing?
No. Where is it?
Has a man named Nicolaitis been in touch with you?
I've never heard of him.
Chances are you will.
Does he have Dr. Denov's notes on my case?
Could be.
This is frightful.
Hot reading, huh?
You seem to know this person, Nicolaitis. Get that file for me, and I'll pay you well for it.
Just a minute, my lovely Titania. We don't know who this man really is. He might even be Nicolaitis himself. Let me see your company credentials.
Now, what do you know? Somebody picked my pocket. My wallet's gone.
I thought so. All right, you tell me who you are. I'll call the police.
Oh, no, Jonathan. No police.
Let's get off the merry-go-round. My name is Spade. You'll find me in the phone book under S. My office is open until 6 o'clock. And if a man answers, don't hang up. It'll be me. Hello, Effie. You found a Nicolaitis yet?
Not one. I even tried spelling it backwards.
Nobody ever heard of a man named Nicolaitis. Beginning to think there ain't no such person.
Pardon me. Do I hear my name mentioned? I'm Nicolaitis.
Sam, I still think you're right.
Come all the way in, Mr. Nicolaitis. Sit down.
Thank you.
If you need me, Sam, just scream.
What can I do for you?
Oh, I've come for my money.
What money?
Oh, the $10,000. You remember the $10,000?
Refresh my memory.
Oh, Dr. Denov, the gentleman who visited you this morning?
Oh, that $10,000.
Oh, you remember now.
Yeah, it all comes back to me now. You were supposed to deliver something for the money.
Since Dr. Denov is dead, that is no longer important. You will give me the money, please, and I will not disturb your afternoon any further.
Suppose I refuse?
Oh, that would grieve me. In my grief, there is no telling what I might do.
Dr. Denov's dead. There's nothing more you can do to hurt him.
Oh, never would I attempt to hurt poor Dr. Denov, but in my sorrow, it would be so great if I should be forced to hurt the woman he lost. After all, as Titania says, these are the forgeries of jealousy.
Titania, huh? Ah, yes. Midsummer Night's Dream. Act 1, Scene 18. I'm a little rusty on my Shakespeare.
Oh, you are indeed, Mr. Spade. Titania doesn't appear until well into Act 2.
She doesn't, huh? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I guess she isn't on for 40 minutes or so.
Yes, indeed, Mr. Spade, but I didn't come here to discuss drama.
What else have you got to discuss? When Dr. Denov died, your market died with him.
That is a very unprogressive view, Mr. Spade. There's always a gentleman named Jonathan Wallace.
Why, you fiend. You don't mean you'd sell to both of us.
Mr. Spade, how can you have such a low opinion of me? I will prove my integrity. I will give you the material. You give me the money.
Hand it over.
In the Levant, Mr. Spade, we have a saying. He who goes too close to the bear soon loses his beard. I have left my beard at home.
Okay, I'll meet you anywhere you say, anytime you say.
Excellent. At 7 in your apartment?
Won't that be walking into the bear's cave?
In the Levant, Mr. Spade, we have a saying. Private dicks do not kill people in their own apartments.
It was then 6 p.m. I called Effie for messages. She told me that you had been phoning frantically, Mrs. Denov. I still had maybe 30 minutes before Nicolaitis was due at my apartment, so I breezed on up to your place on the hill. We had a very interesting chat, remember, Mrs. Denov? Looking back on it, that was probably the most interesting conversation we had. Funny, I can't remember much of anything you said, but it was so cozy there in your place. And what with your clock being about 20 minutes slow, it must have been something like 7:30 before I left you. I grabbed a cab and told the hacky to step on it. I hoped Nicolaitis was still waiting at my apartment. He was. Mr. Nicolaitis, I'm sorry to be late. He was lying on my bathroom floor. The little guy was looking just about as natty as when he'd been in my office, except that the beautiful silk scarf he'd been wearing was twisted into a tight noose around his neck. Mr. Nicolaitis was a very dead blackmailer.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the fourth in a new series of programs bringing to the air for the first time the adventures of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Men, at the racetrack, the man who has something better than a mere hunch is said to have it straight from the horse. Of course, that's a humorous expression, but it shows how to get facts. Go straight to the real source of information. And that's why we went straight to hundreds of men in metropolitan New York to find out what men really want in a hair tonic. And their answers show that Wild Root Cream Oil has all 5 advantages chosen by this impartial consumer jury of men. 1, Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, never leaves it sticky or greasy. 2, Wild Root Cream Oil relieves annoying dryness. 3, it removes loose dandruff. 4, it's non-alcoholic. And 5, it contains soothing lanolin. Remember, no other leading hair tonic gives you all 5 of these important advantages. Is it any wonder that 4 out of 5 users in a nationwide test preferred Wild Root Cream Oil to all other hair tonics they'd tried? So next time you visit your barber, ask for Wild Root Cream Oil and get the big economy-size bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil at your drug or toilet goods counter. And now, back to Sam and Psyche. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
His eyes were open, and he seemed to be looking right at me as I bent over him. The finger marks in his throat were too blotchy to be of any use. Pretty soon, Lieutenant Dundee and Sergeant Polehouse came in and walked over behind me. We all stood there for a second, and then Polehouse bent down and closed those eyes.
You know him, Sam?
His name is Nicolaitis. That's all I know about him.
What did he come here to your place for?
I don't know.
You invited him?
I wouldn't have been surprised to find him here, but not like this. You boys get a smear on him yet?
Sure. He's an old customer of mine. Runs a photo lab. Photostats, microfilm.
Microfilm. Nobody makes any sense. They're all screwballs, psychos, neurotics. What am I doing in the middle of this anyway?
Sam, don't scream at us. We're just doing a job.
Oh, I'm sorry, boys. This Dr. Denov was my client.
Mental expert. That Denov probably had a screw loose somewhere and needed a psychoanalyst himself. Say, maybe he was...
Yeah. Hey, look, Dundee. I'm going out of here now. Do I call Sid Weiss and we go through all that again, or are you going to let me walk?
Why, Sam, you can go. I know where you sleep. I'll wake you when I'm ready for you. Well, Mr. Spade?
I want some answers, Dr. Zoya, and you're the guy who can give them to me.
I'm listening. Just let the questions flow into your mind and do not try to repress any of them. Speak instantly, whatever.
Okay, question number one without thinking. Do you think Dr. Denoff was a suicide?
Well, I had not seen Dr. Denoff for many years. He had been my student in Vienna. I was his analyst, in fact.
That's all very interesting, Doctor, but my question.
Yes. Did poor Dr. Denoff commit suicide? I have reviewed all the material, manifest and hypothetical, and I came to the conclusion, no, it was quite impossible. You see, these paranoid and
Okay,
traumatic...
question number two. Was Dr. Denoff in love with Constance Brent?
I suppose I can now answer that question. When I arrived in San Francisco, I found him in great distress. He told me he feared he was losing his objectivity towards this patient.
In other words, he was in love with her.
Yes.
You think she might have murdered him?
All psychoanalytical subjects develop aggressive feelings toward the doctor. Nearly all of my patients have threatened me at one time or another.
You don't say. Tell me, Dr. Zoya, you know anything about Jonathan Wallace, Miss Brent's husband?
A violent type, almost psychotic.
Yeah? How about you, Dr. Zoya? Could you have done it?
That is a most interesting question, Mr. Spade. When I arrived here from Vienna without funds, dependent on the kindness of my former students, I must confess that I felt a certain antagonism. It disturbed me to realize that a man of my standing in the profession should be dependent on the goodwill of a younger and, I sincerely believe, less gifted man. However, I overcame this, and I didn't kill him.
Yeah. Well, Doctor, thanks a lot.
Oh, Peep. Truly a life study. There is no accounting. For instance, Dr. Denoff. He came to me only this afternoon with the strangest request.
Yeah?
He gave me the gold watch which I had presented to him many years ago upon his graduation in Vienna. He had a patient waiting, and so had not much time to explain.
Where is this watch?
Please, I'm coming to that. He asked me to promise that I would have the watch buried with him if something should happen. That has been done.
But Dr. Denoff just died at 3 o'clock.
It is a Mosaic law that the deceased be buried before sundown.
Uh-huh. Thanks, Doctor. Thanks a lot.
I hope I've been of some help.
Doctor, you'll never know how much you've helped me. Spade.
Oh, what's happened?
I think I got the answers, Mrs. Denoff. That file on Constance Brent. Your husband knew that you'd been going through it.
Mr. Spade.
Shut up and listen to me. He took it out of the files, had it microfilmed for his own private records, and destroyed the original.
Really?
The man who did the microfilming was Nicolaitis. He delivered one print to your husband and kept another for himself. He was murdered in my apartment for the copy he used to shake down your husband. The killer now has that copy, if it hasn't already been destroyed. But we can still put our hands on the first strip of microfilm which you delivered to your husband.
This is astonishing. How?
It's in the gold watch which was buried with him.
Oh, the watch that Dr. Zoya...
That's right. Denoff made up his mind that whatever he knew about Constance Brent was going to go to the grave with him. What are you doing tonight?
Well, nothing.
And we got a date, sweetheart, you and I. I'll be back toward the wee hours. All paths lead to the grave. Ophelia, Act 6.
Gregory's grave? But shouldn't we get a court order and have it done properly?
The courts don't open until 10 in the morning, sweetheart, and Lieutenant Dundee's going to start asking me some questions about that stiff in my apartment before then. You see, baby, I can't wait.
Mr. Spade, we shouldn't be doing this.
If I'm wrong this time, it won't be wasted effort. I'll crawl into the grave myself and pull it in after. Here. I struck it. Give me that crowbar, Mrs. Denov, quick.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Put that flashlight in, sweetheart. You look the other way. Yeah, here it is. Look.
What, Mr. Spade? What have you got?
The watch. Here, put the flash on it while I open it.
Here's my nail file. Pry off the back.
Thanks. That does it. Here's the film.
All right, Mr. Spade. Give me that film.
Wasn't the second gravedigger from Hamlet, Mr. Constance Brent.
Stop clowning and hand it up to me.
You better do as he says, Mr. Spade. We've both got guns.
I was expecting that. Took you a long time to get here, Mr. Wallace. How did dear Constance make out as Lady Macbeth?
Just give me that film.
Stop being an idiot, Wallace. The cemetery is crawling with cops. Put that gun away before you drop it and break your foot.
Come up out of that grave, Spade, or you'll stay there forever.
Okay, Dundee.
All right. Get those hands up, everybody.
Go ahead, Dundee. Make the pinch.
Okay. Sam Spade, I arrest you for body snatching, violation of graves under the Civil Code number...
No, you fool. You're supposed to arrest Mrs. Gregory Denov and Jonathan Wallace for the murder of Gregory Denov and Pericles Nicolaitis.
But I... Oh, yeah.
No, you don't.
It was smart of you, Mrs. Denov, to make me late for my appointment with Nicolaitis. You did that so that Wallace could nail him in my apartment for the microfilm. You thought you could use that film to pin Denov's murder on Constance Brent. But after your late husband caught you tampering with his files, he added a few well-chosen words to it so that the film put the finger on you and your boyfriend, Mr. Wallace, in case anything happened to the doctor. So Wallace had to kill Nicolaitis. You weren't smart to push your husband out the window. That looked like suicide. You might have gotten away with it, Mrs. Denov, if you'd bashed your husband's head in with a bottle. That reminds me, Effie, pour me a drink.
That all?
Sign it, put a special delivery on it, and send it care of the matron to Hatchapee Prison. Go on, have one yourself.
Oh, thank you. Here's how.
You'll get used to it.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Wild Root Cream Oil presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, produced and directed by William Spear. Then, on these warm August days, the sun beats down on your hair, may leave it looking dry and brittle. That's why, now especially, you need Wild Root Cream Oil. This grand non-alcoholic hair tonic has just what it takes for summer grooming. It contains lanolin, the soothing oil that's so much like the oil of your skin. Wild Root Cream Oil keeps your hair neatly in place, gives it the handsome, successful look that helps you get ahead on the job. And Wild Root Cream Oil removes loose, ugly dandruff and actually relieves annoying dryness. So tonight, take the famous FN test. Check your scalp. Signs of dryness or loose dandruff tell you need Wild Root Cream Oil right away. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Fred Essler was Dr. Zoya. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Don't forget, next Friday, the three masters of the art of hair-raising, Dashiell Hammett, William Spear, and Wild Root Cream Oil, join forces to bring you another hair-raising adventure with Sam Spade. Smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, for quick, good grooming and to relieve dryness between permanents. Mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Dick Joy speaking.
This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.